Hey there, welcome back. My name is Anonymous, and I make YouTube videos about defeating gangstalking. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Today, we're gonna cover images in your mind and how we are made to believe that gangstalkers produce these images in our head. So, I had an experience. Well, I had this experience many times where whenever okay, wait, let me restart. So whenever something reminds you of something else, for example, I saw a girl with blue hair on the outside, and she had like red hair, like black hair in the middle, so it reminded me of Billie Eilish or whatever her name is, that artist. So it reminded me in the way that I saw her hair, and then my mind produced an image of Billie Eilish. So then it was like, oh, it reminds me of her. So typically on a normal person's mind, we don't really, our thoughts move so fast that we don't really see the image. However, our subconscious mind does register it. So when you slow down your mind a little bit more, or when you're tired and your mind has to work a little bit slower, you start seeing the images. So when you're getting gang stalked, your mind gets really tired. So then these processes take a little bit longer. So then that image is gonna actually be triggered. And so when you become more aware of how your mind works, you are actually gonna be able to see the image. If But it just requires you slowing your mind down or more awareness. But what happens is that most people haven't really taken the time to to actually comprehend how is it that their mind is reminding them of something else whenever they see it. So for example, whenever I began to see people in sandals, my mind, when I had foot problems, my mind would immediately put like the image of the ugliest image that I have of my own feet. So then I attributed that image to Gangstalkers. So it became a trigger. It triggered that image. But then one day I wondered, well, my feet don't even look like that anymore. Why is that ugly image being triggered? So then I replaced it with a new image of my foot. Like I actively tried to replace it with an image of my feet now, or at that time, which was significantly better. Now, at the moment of replacing it, it actually was a slow process, but it was eventually replaced with an image of my feet being healthier. After I did a pedicure on my own feet. So then that's what it is that I didn't take charge of my mind. Is that I was just allowing my mind to do its own thing. And the moment that I took charge of it, of replacing the image, the ugliest image of my feet, with something better, not perfect because they're not, but better, it became less of a trigger. So also a lot of times when you're getting gang stalked, the triggers are going to produce images in your mind, but it is not that the images were not there before. It was just that you weren't aware of them. Gang stalking requires for you to actually, gang stalking feels like that because most people are unaware of how their minds work. So if something triggers you and it reminds you of an ugly memory, then you actually have the power to reframe that trigger onto something else. So I think I already spoke about this in the past, where I told you where I just also replaced the image of an ugly foot with an absurdly ugly foot. And it worked. So that in itself told me that I was the one that was in charge of those triggers. Those triggers were not imposed on me, but it's just how it happens. Because one thing, you have to have the worst image of yourself. And when you have the worst image of yourself and really low self-esteem, you think of yourself, or you think these things trigger the worst in you, or the worst ever you have been. And you have the freedom to replace these triggers for anything else. But it takes repetition. And it takes an active reconditioning of your own mind. Most people think that those images are being instilled in them because they sometimes are. You know, I have one coworker whose eyes just like moves to the side and just like wiggles, and another one whose one eye is all black. So whenever I will see them, those images would pop up, just the eye, wiggling to the side, or just it being completely black. And I felt that Gangstalkers had access to my thoughts, or to the images. So every time I would see them, it would repeat the most impactful image, which is the eye wiggling aside whenever I would see that person, or the eye being all black. It is what it is. Just that I was upset, actually, and I put it there because I wanted them. I was upset, so I actively put those images in my head whenever they had those, whenever I saw them. And then it became another trigger, but it wasn't a trigger for me, it was a trigger for them, because I thought that it would trigger them, because I thought they had access to what I was imagining. So that experiment in itself told me that whenever I had a trigger, I actually had the power to replace it with anything that I wanted. And all it took was repetition of the image whenever I saw that. Such as the image of Billy, whatever her last name artist is, whenever I saw the girl with red hair. So that's what it is. It's not that Gangstalkers are able to put images in your head. It is simply the fact that the triggers, pull out images that you have seen before. And therefore, because of your lack of understanding of how your mind remembers things, of how your mind makes connections, all of a sudden, you see an image of something ugly, and you're gonna attribute it to Gangstalkers, because you have this narrative that they have direct energy weapons, that they have access to your mind. But in reality, that's just how your mind works. This is why I believe that Gangstalking actually gives you a very intimate exploration. It gives you the opportunity of an intimate exploration of your mind, because it allows you to understand how your mind works. And it's an understanding that you didn't have before. So just to let you know, Gangstalkers cannot impose images on your mind. They don't even know that that's why people believe that Gangstalkers have access to what you see. But people believe it because you have this narrative. But in reality, it is just that they're opening the doors to a deeper understanding of your mind. However, it is being twisted by the narrative of Gangstalking. You can literally just make triggers yourself, such as when you see something, that something reminds you of something, you can and you know that it's gonna actively, that you're gonna see it a lot of times, that you can actively change the narrative. For example, if you're spiritual and you believe in angels, whenever you see a headlight, you can just think of an angel and see and build the image of a very beautiful angel in your head. And therefore, and just do it repeatedly, and whenever you see a headlight, you're gonna just think of the angel. And it's gonna, or a being of light, or something really beautiful that has to do with light. I did this when Gangstalkers were using the narrative of water. Like when the times that I was. It is your mind, and the more you know about how to manage it, the better. So with gang stalking, I learned how to manage my nervous system. I learned how to manage pain. I learned how to manage my mind and how to steer my mind to anywhere I wanted to go to, which is why whenever I see a coworker who has actively engaged in gang stalking, I don't think of the anger that I could allow myself to feel. I completely just eliminate that. So gang stalkers expect targets to be incredibly upset, incredibly resentful. And let me tell you, you're not gonna get anything. The only thing that you can get out of that experience is, well, the most helpful thing is to be aware of who's on your side and who isn't, who's your friend and who's just pretending to be your friend. But it is not healthy to feel anger and to just drown and simmer in this anger. It's gonna make you miserable. So you don't have time for that. You don't have time to be angry. You only have time to control your mind, because in the end it is you who controls all the emotions, and gang stalking only works if you allow them to control your emotions. All right, gang stalking is an opportunity to learn how to have full control of your mind. So if you want to think of the positive perspective you can actually see gang stalking as, is use it as a tool to help you control your emotions, control your anger, control your pain. Use it to your benefit. It can be possibly the best way to learn how your mind works. All right? Thank you so much for watching.